Hello, everybody, and welcome to... Oh, no. Who is this? Who is this?
Ah!
It's Eric! Hi, everybody. Welcome to the monthly, or the every 2 weeks deck series, where I am building a deck for an investigator that I would not normally build for that investigator. I wanted to have Eric for this one because I think Eric would actually really enjoy this deck because... you are a Johnny, right? I think that's a pretty safe assumption. Yeah. Unless you get tilted, then you turn into a Spike, as we know from Earthborn Rangers.
What I like to think is, I like to think that I'm a Vorthos, but really I'm a Johnny. Yeah. And then when I get angry at a game, I'm a Spike.
Yeah. And this is a very interesting combo deck that actually has a very cool play pattern. So Jenny Barnes is actually, I hate Jenny Barnes. She's probably one of my least favorite investigators in the game. And that's because she is stinky poo poo caca.
It's because you hate hats.
I hate hats. Don't get me started about your Joe Diamond that you're playing. I hate his hat.
Yeah.
But with this one, I built a lot of decks, but then I got some inspiration from an ARKHAM DB user called, his name is Tung Rao. And it reminded me that I actually built this exact deck with Parallel Monterey Jack, but you can also do it with Jenny Barnes to good effect as well. So I took that for a mix of Tung Rao's deck and my own Parallel Monterey Jack and merged them together into this Jenny Barnes deck. So Jenny Barnes, you collect one additional resource during each upkeep phase. You get plus Elder Sign is +1 for each resource you have. 3s across the boards, so stats aren't great.
I see why you hate her, because she is... everything she does is average.
Yes, and I am very much not liking that. I play a game. I like to go to the moon. All right, but in this is Jenny Barnes going to bring all her masks to strengthen her arsenal and also sell them to Joey the Rat when she's done with them. This flex deck will have you feeling like a mask maniac from scenario to scenario. And again, huge shout out to Tung Rao for helping me on this. In this deck, these are the expansions that you're going to be required to use. Notably, there is a Return to Circle Undone. That one is actually still in stock, but you should proxy it if you do not have it, because again, there are no signs that they're going to be reprinting these. So until they do, I will promote you proxying them yourself because they are no longer available. Again, these series kind of have like everything. That's just the nature of Arkham Horror. It's a living card game, so you know, if you find replacements if you can't, proxy them. Or like I actually found some of my old proxies. I put stickers on Magic the Gathering cards and wrote Leo DeLuca on them, so do that too.
Fantasy Flight Games. Yeah. Ozymandias.
Yes, and reprint the Return to cards. Yes. All right. This is the level 0 version of the deck. I generally don't spend a lot of time here, and we're also going to break down the cards individually, but you can kind of see where the deck gets its name from. We are running all of the Hemlock Veil masks, which are going to be the really exciting things that we can do. There's not much we're going to be focusing on with Jenny's signatures. You're just going to have to solve the Izzy problem when she shows up, and you're not really building around your guns because we have some other things that we're going to be using instead. Here is the 32 experience list, and you can see kind of how it ends up. But as I always do with this series, we're going to break down the cards individually and kind of get through them. We
drop a mask. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No, it should be 7 for each. So no, it should be 6 for each because we have 1 of each of them and then 2 of the green one.
I'm so insane. I saw Well Connected in the list and was like, it is a mask.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it kind of is. It's the mask of like trying to blend in with the society. Right?
Yeah, it's masking.
All right, so. Our deck gets a namesake again from running all 5 masks, 6 in total, and Joey the Rat Vigil. Our plan is to use these masks, sell them to Joey to make a profit, or break even if we use Joey's ability to play the masks fast, and then scavenge those masks back for even more value. This is a very strange loop on the tin. It's going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but trust me, it can become very efficient if you embrace the mask mania at a full 100%. So just don't get attached to your masks, use them, sell them, and then scavenge them back and repeat. So Fox Mask is the mask we're running 2 of, mostly because we can, but also because it has the best stat boots of all the masks to go with our ability. So, as you can see, the loop here is pretty simple. You play a mask for 1 cost, or you use Joey the Rat's top ability to spend 1 additional resource to play it fast. Then, you use your masks. All the masks replenish themselves, but that's not what our goal is. If you can, because you do not have another mask, replenish them, right? However, if you have another mask lying in wait, sell it to Joey for 2 resources. So if you use Joey's top ability, which works really well with Jenny's ability because she gets 2 resources a turn, you actually can just put a mask into play for free each turn. The masks are limit 1 per investigator, so we need to find a way to get rid of them. So we do that by selling them back to Joey for 2 resources, which means we can just put a mask into play for essentially 0 resources, or if we spend the action, we get a profit out of it, which is a really fun thing to do, especially when you use those masks and just empty them, sell them, empty them, sell them. Really, really fun.
Oh yeah, and it's not an action to spend the...
No, because you can do it during a test.
I am such a fool. That's why I've been avoiding the masks, because I keep thinking of them as an action, but yeah.
No, they're very nice. They're very good one-ups. They're very good one-ups.
Cow, yeah.
So, the other masks that we have here, we'll just talk about them. So these are all the masks that we're running as one-ofs. This is because Jenny has the Dunwich Splash, which means she can play 5 level 0 cards. So Cat Mask will likely be the hardest mask to empty, but we still have lots of tools to use those stats. Or alternatively, drop it at the end of the turn, or with Joey the Rat's ability, use it during the Mythos phase. Or alternatively, if you want to get really funky, let's go back to Joey for a second. Because his ability is a lightning bolt, you can, you can initiate a test. In the first lightning bolt window in the test, use a mask, sell that mask, play a mask, use that mask, sell that mask, use that mask, put like masks into play with Joey's ability. So you can essentially just like boost all of your things, especially when it comes if you want to start scavenging things back. Joey's ability and the mask's ability being lightning bolts means that it opens up a lot of very gross things that you can do with it and the timing that comes with it. It's really nice with Cat Mask because you can put it into play during the Mythos phase and then use it and then sell it for another mask that does something for you when you want to have it, which is really nice. Notably, the things we're looking for is book, foot, fist. Those are the things that we're going to be able to use the most consistently. And again, we're going to want to be using these actively. So that's again why, like Cat Mask does have fist, but with fist, you need to have something else there to use.
Yeah.
With book and foot, due to the way that our cards are being used, we can have those at will, so they're a lot easier for us to use and empty. Yeah.
Oh, she can't take that card that you were mentioning in our last video, the one that just did more damage, right?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah. Otherwise, I could see a place for that.
But there is some cool things that we're going to get into. So, we'll be using scavenging to primarily bring the mask backs that we sold to our good friend Joey the Rat. So he'll buy garbage that we already sold to him again. So, scavenging. After you successfully investigate by 2 or more exhausted, choose an item in your discard pile and add it to your hand. We'll be able to use lockpicks in tandem with the masks or well connected to hit the succeed by 2 threshold. Additionally, we also have lockpicks and bulldogs and cigarette cases that may end up in our discard pile, which are also good to return. And now it's obvious that we're going to have to work harder to scavenge than traditional scavengers. But with scavenger, can they say wear masks and then selling those masks to their gullible mobster friend? Exactly. Not many other scavengers can do that. The reason we have to work harder is because Jenny has 3s in her stats.
Yeah.
But when we use 1 mask in a lockpicks test, we're going to be at 8, which is already a very comfortable number for succeeding by 2. So these are what our hand slots are going to have. We're going to have lockpicks because, again, we're going to add our book to our foot, which is how we're going to be able to get clues more consistently, but also trigger our scavenging more likely, and also trigger our Lucky Cigarette Case 3, which we're about to get to. Notably with this one, you are going to be more likely to break her picks, because without a mask or any other stat boost, which we're not running a passive stat boost in this deck, you are going to only be investigating at 6, right? So you are going to be breaking them, but luckily we can scavenge them back to get more if that happens, right? We also have, once again, our masks to make it more likely, and also our well-connected, which we'll be talking about in the near future. Originally, the weapon I had in this deck was the Mauser, but I chose the British Bulldog because of the versatility that it provided, because we can use either our fist or our foot, which means that multiple masks can trigger depending on what we have. We don't care what we're shooting, because whatever mask we have is nicer. Another cool thing about the lockpicks is that there's a funky little rule that a lot of people might get wrong in this game early on, where you can't commit a foot icon to the investigate on lockpicks because you're using your book, so you can only commit a book, right? You can't commit foot to make your foot bigger. However, as ARKHAM is, you can use passive boosts like the mask to make your foot higher.
Of course, because what you do is you exhaust lock picks, you take the speed trigger to boost your foot, which then means that the foot you're applying is the 2 higher.
Yes, exactly that, yeah. So you can't commit foot icons, but you can still use boost to make it higher.
Oh, that's gross.
So yeah, and then when you're also like, especially like your lockpicks is empty, you could if you also want to get really funky with it, if you want to like tempt fate, some cool lines. Say your lockpicks had 1 supply on it, you can go really high on a lockpicks test, and then after you trigger it, you can during the lightning bolt windows, you could sell it to Joey and then scavenge it back.
Yeah.
The same with the British Bulldog. When it's empty, just sell it, turn it into money. And with all of these, remember that if you pay 1 more, you can put into play fast, which is very possible with Jenny because you're making that extra money each turn. All right, you also may notice that our deck doesn't have a lot of card draw. To remedy that, we are playing one of the most efficient card selection tools in the game. Lucky Cigarette Case, after succeeded to skill test by 1 or more, exhaust it. Search the top X cards of your deck for a card and draw it. Then shuffle the remaining cards into your deck where X is the amount you succeed by. So we have lockpicks. We're already trying to succeed by 2. We have Well Connected to get us higher. We have Breaking and Entering and Sheep Shot as well. We have the masks that just generally also just make our number higher. Use this to get your crucial one-ofs, and always keep this card in the mulligan. This is probably the most important card in your deck, apart from maybe Joey the Rat Vigil. But this card lets you find Joey the Rat Vigil, so that's a really nice thing that you have. Even if you end up only succeeding by 2 or 3, there's still some insane card selection. What's also really nice is that it just also, if you succeed by 1, you just draw a card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Need some water. All right. Let's keep this going. While we aren't necessarily a big money deck, we have lots of ways to make money. Selling the masks, our resource events, Jenny's ability, and getting Travis to watch this. This means that we will still have the tools to capitalize on Well Connected to hit the +2 or +3 commonly, because you only need, for every 4 you get +1. And ultimately, that's all we're going to need to take advantage of our other cards. Don't be afraid to use Well Connected defensively too to protect yourself in the Mythos phase. The nice thing about Jenny is that she has all 3s. It's also like the worst thing about Jenny, but it allows you to get like 5 brain. Very, very nice. Yeah. And again, this is the card that came out of the Return to. It's very easy to proxy from the upgraded version. Just remember that you upgraded it and just know it's 4, and you can spend 2 to ready it once per round. Stylish Coat just turns our resources that we gain during our turn into more resources. So that means when you sell a card to Joey, once you can gain an additional resource. So you can actually sell a mask at a profit if you put it into play with his ability. Even bigger profit if you put it into play normally. But generally, when you're all set up, you want to be doing everything fast because it just means you have more actions to take advantage of your masks. These are our 5 economy cards in our deck. We still want to be able to make money, and they mostly speak for themselves. Notably, Watch This is going to go down a little bit as we lose Thieves Kit, but we can also trigger it with Cheap Shot and British Bulldog. But I get it, Watch This isn't for everybody. As I always say, these decks are a skeleton for you to be inspired by to then modify to suit your needs. But I really like Watch This. Active Economy is very powerful to me. And then we have, so we have 2 Watch This, 2 Faustians because it's just a very good economy card, and then a 1 of Bank Job, mostly just because 2 actions is a little bit more of a down payment than we kind of want out of that. So, you know, you got to make your money. As previously mentioned, we have 2 recurring rogue events to help us trigger Lucky Cigarette Case, Scavenging in the case of Breaking and Entering, and provide us more consistency in our flex roll. This is a flex deck, so that's what we're going to be doing. Both these cards, if you succeed by 3 or more, they go back into your hand. Jenny also uses her ability to have the money for these at the ready, and it's one of those things that this is like a lower priority upgrade because you probably don't need to trigger it too much to get it going. It's still nice to have as an option. And then again, with our masks, that's kind of like the whole thing. It's the more times we're adding stats together, which is kind of Rogue's thing, the more we're able to actually trigger our masks. And it wouldn't be a Just and Flex deck without both Perception and Overpower. So that's why they're here. They're great. They replace themselves. They help us proc relevant effects with more efficiency. And in a pinch, we can use them on other people and still draw the card. Lastly, we also have, in the thick of it, the main reason for this is because we probably want to Joey the Rat in our level 0 deck. So that is something that is very important to us, because if he's not in our level 0 deck, we can't actually replace our masks, which is not the end of the world, but because they do commit, but it is a lot nicer. If this is the case where you have not hit Joey the Rat, Fox Mask is going to be the mask that you want. It's probably the easiest for you to refill back up. Alternatively, actually another good one is the Wolf Mask, because you'll probably just engage enemies as it goes through. Upgrade plan. Yeah. As always, adjust to how you find the deck performs and fill the gaps as needed. But what I always do is I give them in batches. So like the first batch is like priority number 1, and you kind of mix and match between them. Second batch, priority number 2. Third batch is kind of like the gravy on top of it. So important things, you're going to want to get your lock picks, your scavenging, and Joey the Rat, the second Joey the Rat. You're going to want to get like the lock picks and scavenging at the same time. If you can get 7 experience in the first scenario, like that's really good. If you can only get 6, which is pretty common, grab Joey the Rat, scavenging, and one of the lock picks, because then you'll be able to start working. And then otherwise, just go from there and make your things just generally better. This is mostly a deck that upgrades, and I realized actually just now I forgot to put the arrows in. I left the X's, but luckily it still works.
I was just about to be like, I assume it's the one into the other.
Yes, no, but I did forget the arrows for this one. I was like, I made a video without any mistakes, but no, I apparently forgot to put the arrows in.
Welcome to 2025. We do X's now.
Yeah, this is year of the X. No, it just makes me think of Elon Musk, and it makes me sad.
Oh, no.
Should I do the X jump that he does, the most awkward thing in the world?
Does he do an X jump?
Yeah, he jumps, and he's like, he makes an X. He's like this. In my roof.
I just wish
it just came down.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the deck. As you can see, the gameplay loop is it's super fun. So like I said, I did this in a parallel Monterey Jack, because you can play charms. So I actually ran all 10 masks. It was actually 8. I ran one of Cat and Sparrow, but these are... it's a very fun gameplay loop when you get it all set up, because it's just like value. It's just sell to Joey, buy Joey, sell Joey, buy Joey.
So what's the weakness?
Jenny?
Yeah, well, okay, yes. Yeah. But like, when I'm playing this deck, because I would love to play it, let's say I'm hitting those experience marks, I'm kind of on campaign scenario 3 or 4. What's the thing that's going to hurt me the most with this deck?
So I think a big thing is honestly sequencing, right? I think this is a very high experience, like high knowledge deck. This isn't a deck that you just give to a new player because they won't know what they're looking for or what they're doing. So just like even finding the right like order in which you play your cards. Like the mulligan, this deck is very dependent on the mulligan. You need to be able to do that very well. And then like also just in terms of how you spend your actions. Luckily it's a flex deck, so it's if other people are doing good, you can make up for that time by I need to draw cards here, I need to play cards here. Luckily with Jenny's ability, you have the resources to like not feel the economy as much, right? So like if you notice that you're like, especially if you're in scenario, like you just finished the scenario 3 and you're like, I could use some more card draw. I would look at like putting in easy marks, right? Yeah. Like again, like that's kind of like my recommendations for upgrades are kind of just dependent on how you feel. But I think the big thing is just that I think this is a high game knowledge deck to be able to really take advantage of it. So like that's why my advice is for priority in your mulliganing is Lucky Cigarette Case is always number 1 for me. If I can get a Lucky Cigarette Case out on turn 1, I know I probably win the game. Then you're going to want to find your lockpicks and Joey the Rats. That's kind of like the priority value for that. The main reason for the lockpicks is because they allow us to advance the game on our own terms.
Yeah, right? Even without needing a mask.
Yes. Yeah. And then also like it helps the Lucky Cigarette Case. But if you think about it, like it's one of those things where that's why also Joey the Rat's really good, because it allows you to do things fast. So if, for example, you use Joey the Rat to put a mask into play, then you basically saved an action to draw a card to make your hand better if you do need to get there. So the other thing too is Rogue is a combo class. So you'll have to be aware that you're not going to be doing anything until you're set up. But then when you're set up, you're going to be able to make up for that tempo you lost earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's dunnage time! So, as always, as I like to preview what's to come, we have a Jim Culver deck coming up next and an Ashcan Pete as we continue this series as I try to build for investigators that I haven't done with before. Unfortunately, though, I've built a lot of Jim Culver and Ashcan Pete decks, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge to find something that I've not done before for this series. But thank you for everyone for your support. And really, honestly, makes me very happy to hear how much you specifically like this series. I get a lot of praise for it, so thank you so much. It does not fall on deaf ears, even though I do not usually respond to the comments to say thank you. I do hear it and feel it every day. And then after Dunnage, we're going to go to the Forgotten Age and keep going through that. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for joining me, Eric.
Happily.
Because I feel like when I play with you, I'm still too much of a spike to do really crazy combo decks like this. So it's nice for me to show you some of the real cool things that you can do in this game that I generally don't bring to the table because I'm too stuffy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and as always, GG's.